How mitakuyapi. Hello, everyone. I want to say a couple of things about communication and how powerful it can be. Many years ago, when I first started to teach Lakota language at a high school on the reservation, one of my classes had a student who was very quiet in the beginning. She was really shy. And as the session started, I was getting them to speak right away, to say things, yeah, to be able to talk, to practice with other students. I had them dialoguing right away. This class consisted of students that normally did not belong in the same social circles, even though most of them were Lakota. So when they dialogued with each other in Lakota, they had to face each other, and I would have them switch off all the time. Yeah, for example, if I had a class of 10 students, and so that's five pairs, yeah, two people talking to each other. When they get done with their assigned dialogue, they would move to the next one. Yeah, kind of go around like that. So everybody has a chance to talk with different people all the time. So as time went on, slowly they started to become more friendlier with each other. And when I teach, I also like to tell stories, traditional stories, spiritual stories, funny Lakota stories, and just stories that made them think. Yeah, we always did that at the end of or towards the end of the session, so they have a time to relax, and I tell them a story. So it was quite an experience for them. I wanted them to have a really good experience with the class, that they are learning their language and they're learning their culture and their spirituality as well. So this was going on for maybe a few weeks, and then suddenly other teachers in the school would stop me in a hallway, or if I'm going someplace within the school and I run into them, they would stop me in the hallway, and they were always asking about this one girl, this really shy girl. And to be respectful, I'm not going to use her real name because I don't want to embarrass her. And they would ask me about this girl, and they would say, "What did you do to her?" You see, before I came there to teach, there was no Lakota language class. There was nothing. And in this school, it's not a tribal school. I say this because in the reservation I come from, all the tribal schools are required to teach Lakota language. But the school where I was working at was not a tribal school, even though it was within the reservation. It did not have to adhere to tribal laws. It was under the state of South Dakota. It was a state school, a public school. So this is why this school did not have a Lakota language program. And I learned that it was the Lakota students who really fought hard for this class to be in this school. And when I learned that, that made me want to teach even more, to really give them what they deserve because they were asking for it. Yeah. And now I'm there, and I really put my heart and soul and my mind into the teaching. So this girl evidently was a little bit of a problem for other teachers. Now, this is before the Lakota language class was there. She would go to class and she would just sit there. She would put her books on her desk in front of her, and she would just sit there and look down. The teachers would ask her questions, And she wouldn't answer. She would not complete her homework or anything. And they didn't know what to do. They would send her to the principal, and he would put her in detention. And she didn't seem to care. And now we have this Lakota language class, and several weeks has gone by, and suddenly this girl has gone through a transition. And that's why the teachers were asking me, what did you do? Now we can't stop her from talking. She had really become sociable in her other classes. She was completing her work, and it turned out that her grades were really good. And it even got to the point where she was helping other students. Now, these are other classes, okay? I'm not talking about my Lakota class, but in her other classes, like, say, a math class or a history class or something like that, her grades really got high. They got good. And the teachers were just amazed at this transition. They've had this girl in their classes for over a year, and she was always this way, and suddenly she's different. Suddenly she's changed, and the teachers apparently were talking about this, and they found out that the change happened right around the time I start teaching. And in my classes, I always tell them about feeling good about yourself, and everything that you've heard me say in my videos that I've done. One of the things that I say a lot is that reality begins within, and that when we communicate to others in a healthy way, encouraging others, that sends out a medicine and that comes back 4 times as strong. So the person you talk to, it feels good, whatever it is that the communication is, and the act of doing that, it's sending an energy to that other person. And if it's healthy, it comes back 4 times as strong to the person who sent it. And we always talked about these things, and I always told stories where this happens and they see it. And this is called Wawokia. It's the natural law of generosity. This is one of the first things that I taught them. And a lot of it is in the things that we learned in the dialogues when they're learning the language. And so as they learn this, they are starting to do this with each other, and they're encouraging each other. And it was so nice to see in the class that they were helping each other. I told them, this is not a competition. Yeah, this is not a competition of who's the smartest one and who's the dumbest one. I'm not into that. I said, I want to be like a Tioshpai. Then I taught them what that is. It's an extended family unit. A Tioshpai is a unit that functions together. If somebody is more skilled than others, then that person helps the others. And that's what I had the students in the classes do too. Whoever was really getting this faster, I would then have that student help others to come together. So they got to the point where it's not about who's the better one. It's not about who's smart and who's dumb, because that kind of thinking, it doesn't always work. Most of the time it doesn't. It's not a good system. That's what I call duality, and I have videos on that. Look for one that says truality, and then you can hear what I talk about. Anyway, so I got these classes to function as a community thinking group. And so I encouraged them to ask questions if they didn't understand. Or if they're too shy to ask me, to ask somebody who knows in that class. So they would. And so they really got to helping each other, this communicating in a way that, don't worry, I'll help you with this. Maybe they're having a problem saying a certain word, so a student would say it like this, and they would give them tips and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is so cool, this helping one another. not putting each other down, not saying, whatever, you'll never get it. You're too dumb. Instead of saying that, they're building each other up. Yeah, I thought that was so cool. That's such a beautiful thing to witness young people do that, to help each other like that, and to say, don't worry about it, we'll get it. Yeah, to hear that during lunch break, we'll practice. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. And then sometimes I would hear my students as they're walking down the hallway that they're speaking in Lakota. And I was like, that is so cool. And when somebody has difficulty saying something, they help them to learn it, to help each other. Yeah. And so it was all, okay, it's try it like this, say it like this. See, there you go. You got it. To see one student say to another one, that's it. You got it. That's cool. Yeah, that is so cool. Now you have it. See, you can do it. Now, I was saying this in the beginning. Now, my students were saying this to each other, and this affected this shy girl that I was talking about, that suddenly she changed. Yeah, in her other classes, she was talking, she was friendly, and her face was just shining. She was just full of energy, and people really liked being around her because they felt good. The energy that was coming out of her. And it shows you the power, how wonderful that is when you say, hey, you did a good job. It doesn't matter. You don't judge them by their skin color or their physical appearance or their religion or whatever. You learn to see the value in others. You learn to see that we are all important, that all of us are important, that maybe some people know this, some people know that, and some people know this other thing. But when we come together, we really can make a beautiful society, a beautiful community, a beautiful tioshbe, a beautiful group, where you learn to talk to each other in such a way that you build each other up. You did a good job. Hey, that was cool. Yeah, and I had a student one time that his grades were not so good, but that was not my focus. Yeah, and I always tell that to my students is this is not the focus. The grade is not the focus. What I want to do is to see where you are and then help you to progress further. So when I had a student whose grades were not so great, but then the other students together would help the student until that grade comes up a little bit more and say, hey, see what you did? That's so cool. Yeah, you did a good job. Cool for us. Cool for you, cool for us. You see, that's the Tioshbai thinking. And so cool for our class. Do you see how that goes? And to say something like that, to encourage somebody to say these things, you can do it. Wow, see, look at that. Your grade went from a D minus to a C. That's really something. Now, I know there's super achievers who have to have that top one, but just to see the progression, there is progression. Yeah, so when I talk to the student alone, I would show, see, look at that. There's progression. Yeah, and we're just beginning. It can go further. We will all do this together. Yeah, so the power of saying something nice, to say a healthy message, even if it's just to say, hey, good to see you. Yeah, hey, hello. Have a nice day in English, in whatever language you speak, that you say, hey, cool to see you. I hope you have a good day. When somebody does something and it's like, hey, that was cool what you did. That was so nice. Thank you. Yeah, it's so amazing. And when people hear that, this warm feeling goes in them, and Who knows what that could lead to? But suddenly their expression changes, like this girl I told you about in this class. Suddenly her face, it's still the same face, but it's a different energy. Yeah, it's a warm energy, and people wanted to be around her. She was laughing and smiling, and people wanted to be around that. She spread the energy to others, so they were becoming this way too. See how powerful that is. Yeah, and some people say it takes so many muscles to smile. Well, see, that's physical health there. That's a workout. To smile. Stand in front of the mirror and smile. Or just do it. You're working out. You did your workout for the day by just smiling. Start there. You see it connects to the physical part of the self too. Yeah? See, this is so wonderful when something like this is done in a healthy way. Look at the power that can happen. This girl grew up and has accomplished really nice things in her life. And I'm happy for that. Yeah. And the people that she's made happy as well. It's a wonderful thing when something like this can happen. It just, it just takes, it just takes a start. Yeah. All we need to do is start. Start with yourself. Yeah. Stand in front of a mirror and don't judge yourself. You say, hey, this is me. Yeah. I'm a wonderful person. Don't pay attention to what others have said to you. I just told you a story of how powerful it is. And I know a lot of us have gone through the opposite. Yeah, where people have told you you're good for nothing. You're just an Indian. You'll never be more than this. Yeah, you'll always be down there because you're an Indian, because you're fat, because you're dumb, because you wear glasses, because you belong to the Blippity Blue Da religion. Cool name for a religion. Yeah, I'm a member of the Blippity Blue Da church. Uh, but it's so easy to tear somebody down because of low self-esteem. When somebody does that, they have a low self-esteem. It's a reflection. Yeah. In Lakota Star Knowledge, we have this concept that how you communicate is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. So when you have a person who's constantly putting other people down, it's because they are that way. Yeah, they put themselves down. They really feel down, and they think that the best way they can feel better is to make others feel worse than they feel. And that's a really unhealthy energy. Yeah, this is what some people will say, this is bad medicine. Lakota, when somebody's like this, they say that person is hiazi. Yeah, this is really not a good thing. It's really unhealthy. And in that sense, when somebody communicates like that in a very unhealthy way, it spreads too. Yeah, it spreads like wildfire. And the thing is that really can do a lot of damage. It's so easy to do that. And this is not living because the way you communicate decides your life. And when somebody does this, yeah, it's easy to tear somebody down. It's easy to say, you're a poor person, so you dress in these goofy, out of style clothes and wears the flood pants to make fun of that person. Maybe that person's poor and they don't have any money. But it's easy to tear somebody down. But when you tear somebody down, remember what I said about this wawokie, That's sending an energy out. It doesn't matter what that energy is. Whatever you send out, it's going to come back 4 times as strong. Earlier, I said when you send out healthy energy, it comes back 4 times as strong. That means healthier. But when you do this in an unhealthy way, when you tear somebody down, and that's going to come back to you 4 times as unhealthy. So that means you mess yourself up more when you tear somebody down. So it's all up to you. Yeah, life is just what you make of it. But it all begins within you. Sometimes there's situations where maybe you don't feel so good, but something happened. I'll use myself as an example. Maybe I had a bad meeting with the administration, the school administration where I work. Maybe I had a bad meeting and I don't feel too good. So I come to my room and my class is starting and I see my students there and I think to myself, okay, I gotta do my job. I'm here for them and they want to be there. So I start doing my job and then maybe they sense there's something wrong, but they do their part. And then I see something and I say, hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And they were able to make me turn or influence me to turn. So then I think, yeah, that's really cool what you did. Or maybe I tell a story and then I'm able to get into it and then to make that switch. I'll get this energy out and I'm going to tell a story to change that, yeah, to switch so that what's going to happen now is that even though I experience some unhealthy energy from someplace else, meaning that meeting, I'm able to neutralize that with what I do, yeah, with my teaching, with my storytelling. And as I'm doing this, I'm seeing how it affects the students. So suddenly that unhealthy energy that was thrown at me at this administration meeting, suddenly that's neutralized. And I'm totally am done with it. And now I'm back and I'm doing what I love to do. And the students feel the switch too. Yeah. And so when they're leaving the room, they're all smiles and say, hey, see you tomorrow, or Doksha care, have a nice weekend or whatever. And it's really cool. Do you see what I mean? Sometimes it happens like that too, that somebody does something nice for you, and then it's like you get stunned, and they're like, okay. And then you just pause, yeah? Like what I did was I just paused, I took a deep breath, and I had to, okay, you put yourself in the current situation, and then start doing whatever it is that is necessary for whatever situation you're in. Sometimes that medicine will come to you, yeah? A healthy medicine will come to you and will switch or influence you to switch whatever it is you're going through. It's coming to heal you. Yeah, it's coming to help you feel better. And the next thing you know, you're working out and using all those muscles to smile, and and they hear it in your voice, and that's how it is. Yeah. So I just encourage you to think about this and practice it in your own life. Maybe you've already experienced something like this, especially when you're a parent. When you watch your children, when you love your children, you're doing your best to take care of them, and you watch them, and when you encourage them and you see how that affects them, and it makes you feel good too. Yeah, that's that wawokia. Yeah, you sent out a healthy energy, made your child feel good, comes back to you, keeps going back and forth like that all the time. That's part of love. Yeah, and even if the child is going through a difficult time, there's a way you deal with that too, in a healthy way, by encouraging them, by saying it's going to be all right. Because you know what? It is. That's the natural law of life. It's going to be all right. Yeah, just like Bob Marley said. It's going to be all right. Yeah, it will. But it's also nice when you do your part in sending out the healthy energy. It's worth it when you do that. When you're communicating with somebody and you say, hey, that's cool what you're doing. Hey, I like the way you dance. I like the way you did that. That's so cool. When you see somebody who did something that really made you feel good, go up there and tell them if you can, yeah? Because if it's a really famous person, the security will probably have their way with you. So, but I mean in a normal situation, if you saw something or heard something and it was caused by somebody, or even you walk into the forest and the birds are singing and you can stand there and you can say, hey, thanks, Bird Nations. That was really nice. I really needed to hear that song today. Yeah, and the wind blows and you hear the leaves. You can thank the wind, thank the leaves, thank the tree, thank the earth, and say, wow, that really makes me feel good. Yeah, thank you for that. See, you're building them. You're sending out a healthy energy. Saying thanks is a part of this, to build somebody up. And I mean in a healthy way. Like the story I said with my former student. It's really amazing to see how far that can go and to see the impact, the deepness of that impact, especially when it's done in a healthy way. That's why it's important to have a peace within yourself. Again, I come back to that. Reality begins within. And how do you have that peace within yourself? In Lakota, we say the self has four parts: your physical body, your emotional self, and your mental self. That's your mind, your thoughts, and the spiritual self. And these four parts connect to each other. And where they connect is your sacred center. And so to have peace, to influence peace in your life, that includes to do your best in taking care of those four parts. Go out and take a walk. Don't always eat junk food. I'm not saying be really strict and only eat healthy foods. You can eat what you want, but put some healthy foods in there too. Drink some water and do some exercise. Or like I said, go out for a walk and thank your body for it being there. Even if you are not able to do certain things, you still have a body. You are here. Thank it. There are still good things that can happen. For the mind, this could be like with meditation. It could be reading a nice book, talking to people, having interesting discussions, listening to music. And this also affects the spiritual part. It also affects the emotional part. They all affect each other. So when you do healthy things in each of these four parts, do some meditation, you can pray. You don't have to do meditation, but do something healthy for your mind. For the spiritual part, you can have a personal ceremony. It doesn't have to have a religion. Spirituality does not belong to a religion. So you can be a spiritual person by doing things that have a spiritual meaning to it. Do those kind of things and making the best of your life. Even if you're going through a difficulty, try to learn from it. Try to learn things from it. Do the best that you can. Make the best of the situation. And then the emotions that came with that, they're going to neutralize, yeah? They will help you to develop. And then your spirituality develops a little bit more too at the same time. So even if things are not going so well, you're still here. You're still breathing. You're alive. That means opportunities are still coming to you. Okay? It's going to be all right. This is a natural law. Yeah? Everything will be all right. Maybe it happens fast, maybe it doesn't happen right away, but it's going to happen. So these kind of thinking is also helps to build that peace within yourself. And now that you have this peace within you, it's going to show in the way you talk to others. It's going to come out like that. Reality begins within. How you communicate reflects what's inside of you. So if you're doing your best to take care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, that's influencing a healthy living and it's building peace inside of you. And that's going to be in your words. And then you can really build somebody up like that. Really say, wow, you did a good job. Hey, you're a nice person. You're cool. Or what you did, that was really cool. You can do that. Or just talk with them. This is building them up and they start to feel that warm energy and then it goes inside of them. You see? And that's so cool. So I encourage you to do this. It's worth it. This is why we're here. This is why we are alive. This is medicine. This is love. Ho mitake api hecha duelo. Doksha ake.
To read more about Lakota Star Knowledge spirituality, you can read my book called Wichocha Otechike. You can see the book cover on the right side of this screen. This book contains the information to what I talk about on my Lakota spirituality videos. To purchase this book, please click below where it says Show More. Clicking on that link will open up the description below, and there you will see a link called To Purchase My Books. As you will see, it's an eBay link. Click on that eBay link, and there you will see the information to get this book. Lila Pila Mayelo. Thank you very much.